You're listening to the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman, episode 203. On today's Small and Supercharged podcast, we are joined by not one, not two, but three lovely ladies. We have got Liz Somerville, Liz Daniels, and Lou Gillings, who we've literally just had a discussion about her surname, and I nearly said Gillings. It's Gillings, isn't it?
It is Gillings, yeah.
I wrote it down phonetically. Anyway, so we're joined by three amazing ladies who I know from lots of in different ways actually, but today we're going to talk about, well, all sorts, but about EquiTeam, which is this trio's new adventure. So I don't know how to do this, so let's start with Liz Daniels. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do, and then maybe how you got involved with EquiTeam, and we'll go in a circular format.
Oh my goodness me, that's quite a big can of worms. Thank you so much for having us on your podcast. We're all very excited. We're quite new to the world of podcasting, so to be guests is like, woo, exciting. I'm Liz Daniels, just to confuse you all. There's two Liz's in the EquiTeam circle. I have got a history steeped in marketing and social media, PR, but my background comes from being a professional groom, which I absolutely loved. I worked for the British Grooms Association for many years, and worked for Riders Minds as well, the mental health charity, and I also do a lot of coaching. And Lou and I formed in 2014 a confidence camp, EquiTeam confidence camps, which are basically 3-day residential camps for adults who want to come along, get some tips, have a few drinks at night, let's be honest, have a hangover or two maybe, learn some stuff, but really get involved in a very safe, kind of nice community. So basically what we're saying is it's all Lou's fault, it's all Lou's idea, and that's why we're here talking to you today, Ria.
Oh God, I mean, that's an intro for Lou, if ever I heard one. Tell us about your good self.
So I'm Lou Gillings with a G, just usual. So I met Liz Daniels many years ago when we were both grooms for some show jumpers, and so I groomed for quite a long time, traveling around Europe, and then I moved into equestrian events. So I worked for competition centres. I worked for a couple of competition centres running events from unaffiliated stuff right up to big BS shows and BD shows. So, and then had this crazy idea that maybe we should do some camps, and Liz said no, and then she said no again, and then she eventually said yes, we'll do one. And then 8 years later, it's a bit crazy, and we thought it was about time they went online, and we spread the love and magic of camp with the whole world.
Which is a good introduction to other Liz. I'm just wondering, I've got this thing, if you've got people the same names in the group, that somebody should have to rename themselves, but I'm not sure who that is going to be. But Liz Somerville, so is that at that point that you got roped into Liz's idea that the other Liz blames her for completely?
Yeah, definitely, Ria. I think Liz and I had been going for a walk and having a chat about what I wanted to do, and the subject came up then. But yeah, just to give you a bit of background about what I've been doing, I was also a professional groom originally many years ago, but I worked with eventers and also in the racing industry, so I hadn't met these two at that point. And then my husband and I moved up to Scotland, and we started our own equine vet practice, Lochleven Equine Practice. And that's where I met Liz many years ago. And she came up, and we worked together in the practice for a long time. And yeah, just been sort of watching these two grow the camps and supporting from afar and seeing how fantastic they are and seeing how much people love them. And then yeah, went for a walk with Liz one day and was like, oh, I'm sort of looking for maybe some other projects, and we were throwing some ideas around, and she was like, Lou's been trying to persuade me to take camps online for a while. I think Lou had first mentioned it about 2 years ago, and actually we thought that with the three of us it was something that we could probably all manage to do together. So that's how EquiTeam came about.
Really cool. So you're saying that they're confidence camps. So what does an in-person camp look like? How does that take place?
Like fun. So basically we get 12 people that look like little rabbits in headlights of all different levels, and it doesn't matter to us if their massive goal is to canter for the first time or to jump a meter course properly. Everyone has goals, and we put them in an environment where we're very kind of open to sharing and just being us, and to being vulnerable, I think really is the key, and to allow people to say, I'm a little bit nervous, I'm a little bit worried. And sometimes that stems from, you know, maybe a past experience, sometimes it just time out the saddle, sometimes for no real reason at all, people just are lacking something, and we put them in an environment where they're safe to feel how they share, and as well as focusing on the riding and the skills and giving them lots of tools in the saddle. We like to think, you know, the coaching helps, but the reality is they just come for the community and lose food, to be honest. So they arrive on day one, usually of an evening, and we let them get settled in, and we give them some of Lou's home cooked food, and then we have an introduction which puts everyone at ease, and hopefully they realise by that point that myself as a coach, I'm not scary, and Lou's not scary. And then we just go through a process. So we start with flat work, and then in the afternoon we add in pole work, and the next day the pole work progresses to grid work, and then we have the option to go on the cross country course as well. And then the last day we do course jumping, and we talk about the technical side, so how to warm up and what to look for and how to ride lines, and then we go and have a consolidate on the cross country course as well. And we have lots of visiting people, so fitness and confidence coaches off the horse. I know Jane Brindley works with you, Ria, quite a lot, so she's
I love Jane. Jane.
She's very instrumental in our camps, and we basically just, I think, provide a very safe platform where people are allowed to have fun, be with the horses, you know, and just be quite honest about how they're feeling, and potentially vulnerable. But for us, I would like people to leave feeling inspired, feeling that they've achieved something and that they can take that forwards. But we've been so lucky, the demand is insane. Like camps sell out in literally minutes, like 7 minutes, and they're gone. And people were getting a bit annoyed, which is why we wanted to develop something where, of course, we can't all, you know, come to the camps, and we've got quite a small market. So as Lou said, what magic could we bring online in I teach in a very kind of bite-sized practical way. So instead of bombarding people with lots of information, I quite like to give them the bits that really matter and will make a difference, and then I think they can absorb the other bits, like, you know, the more sciencey bits when they're off the horse, and understand and just, you know, give it a go. As long as it's not dangerous, obviously, then give it a go, it's fine. So that's what we're trying to do. And we've all got a horse care background, of course, and Liz with the veterinary side, so we're like, well, let's add that in. And then the marketing side, we're like, well, let's add some writing of blogs, and why not try podcasts? And here we are.
What bit of the kind of whole EquiTeam made you think, you know, this will work online? Or what bits are you not dragging out? That sounds like it's coming against its free will.
None of it. No.
I think that think when people come to camp, they get from everybody else, it's the support that they get from everyone else, which the horsey industry is known for being less than supportive, shall we say. And we hear stories now, so people meet at camp and they form lifelong friends, and then they see people at events and they're like, oh, I've seen you on, I think I know you. And they might have just seen a photograph of them on the camp page and know that they've been to camp, and they're like, oh, good luck, how did you get on, blah blah blah. And it's that whole supportiveness that I think if we could make just even a little tiny dent into the whole equestrian industry, then that would be amazing. And that's kind of where it started. And I think there's one lady said she's missing the bit between camp, the continued support.
Yeah
that would be so nice, that people know that they've got somewhere they can go and go, oh, I'm having a really crap day, I'm really struggling to get my horse to do this, and not get shot down by all the keyboard warriors, because that's what we don't tolerate.
We do have a little bit of that in the equestrian industry. You see that actually every level of rider, I think I've seen, come into some kind of, I can't think of the right word, you know, there's, if people take a picture of a moment in time and the horse is maybe slightly overbent in a warm-up, and before you know it, they're being accused of all sorts of things, and these are riders who definitely don't do these things, or, you know, that split second when someone's legs a bit far forward and they get accused of all sorts of things, and you think, hang on a minute, let's just, it's hard enough getting a horse anywhere to a competition, looking after it without it maiming itself, as Liz would know, having a vet, so I bet you see so many exciting things. It's hard enough just dealing with that, let alone having really unsupported people when you're trying your best.
Yeah, totally. And that's something really, like I popped along to camp last week because we were having some photographs taken, and it's been a while since I went, and we were stood watching them teaching, and you know, I can't, when I say that people were whooping and cheering, I'm not exaggerating, when these guys were going around the jumps, and one lady was so nervous, and there were literally like whoops and shouts and clapping and cheering as she went round, and that's what we're trying to create, but essentially online, so that people can access it all of the time. And we're already seeing it sort of filter through into our Facebook group that we've got with our members, and it's so lovely, like seeing not just the support that they're getting, but actually then what they're achieving because of that. And one lady had been really worried about taking a young horse out for a hack, and I think it was being a bit backwards and potentially nappy going out on its own, and she was like, she put this lovely post up and said basically it was because of all the support and encouragement that she'd had in the group, like she'd gone for a hack on her own for the first time. And it's like, guys, that's why we're doing what we're doing. That's exactly why we're doing it.
I think we put a hacking video up, because I'm a massive believer that hacking is quite a powerful schooling thing, and she'd been brave enough to comment on that, and you know, and open the dialect and say, I'm having these troubles, what would you do? And so we replied to say, this is your step 1, step 2, step 3, and this, if this happens, you can do this. And then she came back with this photo of you know, her horse out and about, and we were like, yay. And we get just as excited online as we do at camp. I'm a bit overexcitable when I'm teaching, and I encourage a little bit of external whooping and cheering. So it's I think, yeah, it's good to take that online, isn't it? A breath of fresh air.
Definitely. And it must be lovely when you can see at camp, when people, as you say, arrive day one really nervous, and also like the camp environment, it makes people nervous. It's a new thing with people you don't know, and then day 3 they're all kind of cheering each other on and achieving things that they wouldn't have possibly imagined just a few days ago. It must be really, really cool.
It is so awesome. We've had one camper in the whole time that we've been doing it that has been negative, and that got very quickly nipped in the bud, and the rest of them just, like, it's amazing. They have their own mini camps, and as Lou said, they meet each other at competitions. They've got all these different Facebook groups that we just cannot keep on top of. They've got WhatsApp groups. I'm like, please stop adding me. As much as I love to know the progress, like I can't cope with all the, you know, but isn't that, aren't we so privileged to be able to do that? And if you know, as we rightly kind of say, if we could help just a few people and make a positive difference to those lives, and you know, if they learn something along the way, brilliant.
Definitely. And the great thing is, obviously you're based in Scotland, so your kind of pool of people who could come for physical camps, I mean, I know people can travel, horses do travel, but, and the fact they get sold out so quickly is, as you say, it's fairly small, not really small, but fairly small. But by moving it online, you're opening it up, well, quite literally globally, aren't you? So what is inside your group? How is your online community working? How are you taking it online?
Oh, it's a good question. And in terms of content, or
all of it? We want to know all about it. Sounds really cool.
Oh, I'm so excited. So we have horse training videos. We have rider training, so we call them the bite-sized videos, where we've got exercises for horse and rider, for jumping, for flat work, for improving your position, We have horse care videos, we have blogs, we have podcasts, we have downloads, and we have rider fitness, because we can all be guilty of working quite hard on our horses and we forget about ourselves, and everyone is very short of time. So actually, if we can work with them, we work with a professional who works with Horse Scotland as well, so Equestrian Fitness Scotland, and she does very rider specific exercises. So if you're going to spend the time, you might as well use it quite well. And then we have our Facebook kind of community as well, and a live Q&A every month. Have I forgotten anything? I feel like that's quite a lot. When I say
a lot of
I'm a bit
content,
overwhelmed, like, oh, how are we doing this? I don't know.
You're the one that puts everything on the website, so yeah.
That's pretty much nailed it. It's so the videos are split into 3 sort of sections of riding, horse care, and rider fitness.
right?
But then the riding ones, obviously, they split up into flat work and jumping and pole work and hacking, which was hilarious, with an extra special spook, which was a real highlight. It was hilarious, just to keep it real. So, and I think because they're very real, some of them are filmed in a grass field, so it just goes to show that you can do the exercises anywhere. Yeah. And anyone can do them. So that's why we filmed them like that. We haven't gone and hired an indoor school and said you must school your horse like this. We've kept it real.
And that makes it more and more useful, I'm sure, because not many people have got indoor arenas, and people do keep their horses in all different situations. So seeing those things that can work anywhere is got to be so much more useful for your audience.
I think we're quite keen to show real life. So we were doing something, as Lou said, about hacking, and I was hacking and chatting away, and we're talking about hacking with purpose. And my little boy sprung out from in front of the car we were filming from, and and the horse freaked. And I'm like, that's a perfect example why you would hack with purpose and be connected and
have a neck strap, because we
and have a neck strap. Yeah, not that I reached for my neck strap or just like giggling, but it, like, the videos are very, we show, is it real? It's not rehearsed. It's like, this is it. And then we talk about what's good and what we could improve on in that situation. And then the videos come with a handout normally as well, or a download, should we say, just to reiterate what we're doing, how you ask or how you do it, and why, like what benefit is that exercise, and what it works on, and then sometimes if you want a continuation of the exercise, how you could make it harder or how you can make it easier if you're not ready for that level. So whilst we're not kind of targeting those that are going off to badminton, unfortunately, that isn't our market. It's a wide audience. So from those that are trotting kind of building up to your canter, through to those that are competing at your kind of 90s and 100s, which is we've just fallen into that target market. So hopefully we'd love to hear feedback, because we've only had feedback from the people that are in the group, but we'd love to hear extra feedback as well as to what people would want to see.
Is all of this on your website, or how does it work? Because you've got a membership group, you've also got a Facebook page and things as well, but you've got a membership group as well. So which bits are where?
So all the content goes on the website, and the members all have a login to the website, and then the Facebook group is separate. So we all of the members join the Facebook group, or have the option to join the Facebook group, and then we kind of tell them reminders about what's been posted on the website that week.
Yeah.
So they don't miss anything, basically.
But on the main website as well, Ria, so if they're not members, then they can still obviously access our podcasts, which are on all the normal platforms and are called Listen with EquiTeam. And then also EquiTeam blogs that are written by us, rather than, because we have some fantastic outside contributors writing blogs as well, but they're specifically for the members. But yeah, so our EquiTeam blogs and our podcasts, obviously anyone can access, and that information is is on the main, the front bit of the website, and then our members log in to access everything else.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the community side of it?
I always go, and then I'm like, maybe someone else wants to talk. Sorry, yeah, I love talking.
Really? We hadn't noticed that.
I know. Yeah, no, it's a very safe community. It's we have a very written into all of our policies that we have a zero tolerance policy, and of course everyone's welcome to have an opinion, but a positive opinion, and if it's not a positive, then maybe kind of go away, have a think about how that would sound on the other, you know, if you're on the receiving end of that, which sounds a bit school-like, and it's not. To be fair,
you've got to have rules. You've got to have rules.
Yeah,
even in the
and
Swan and
we've
Supercharged
never-
group, it's like, if you can't be nice, don't say anything, because it's not working.
But we've never had to implement that, because I think the people that we attract and the people that know us, and hopefully when people go onto the site, they get a feel that it's like, it's fun, it's not serious. And you know, all the videos, as we said, we all make mistakes. It's us riding. Like, we're not, you know, we're not badminton riders, we're just normal people. And you know, if we video and we fall off, we'll put that on there, and we'll know that no one will be, you know, derogatory about that. They'll be like, oh, I bet, you know, so
you're all right, rather than
I think people can relate to that though, can't they? And that's what really helps build that community, is that we're just really relatable ourselves, in terms of like, we're struggling with all the same things. We might have a slightly different goal, or we might be trying to achieve something different, but we're ultimately still juggling all the balls that everyone else is. We still feel the same way when we're like feeling sick to the bottom of our stomachs at the thought of jumping or whatever it might be. And I think it's because people can relate to us and what we're sort of putting out there, that then really helps build, because it's that trust element, isn't it, with the community? It's so important that they trust us enough to feel like they can reach out and ask for that support and ask the questions.
Definitely.
You must see it a lot, Rhea, in your line of work, where you see how important it is for you know, in your own work, that if you have a network and a community, for example in your Facebook group, all of a sudden you've got a huge pool of people that have so much more information and knowledge, and you know, just by reaching out and allowing yourself to say, I'm not sure about this, can someone help you? You know, you might feel vulnerable for a split second, but then all these people offer to help, and it makes you feel so good, and you know, you get a much greater picture and much more options and things. And I love, you know, we're lucky enough to be part of your group, Rhea, as well, and I love that you can put something in the group, and whatever it is, within, you know, an hour, you've got lots of options, and you feel like, actually, I'm not in this alone. We're together. And as Liz rightly said, you know, with the horses, we've all had the ups and downs and everything in between and more, and the times when you're like, and the times when you know, we want someone to share the success and pick you up when you're down. So for me, it's having, you know, that kind of support in place where you're allowed to be you, and you don't have to be a crazy strong businesswoman and, you know, a strong independent mom and a housewife and this and that. You actually can say, oh man, I suck today, and people are not. So we have a thing where on a post I was preparing for me, it was quite a big competition, and I went out to practice and did a test, and I rode terribly, like it was awful, it was so awful. And Lou, being so nice, is like, oh, don't worry, there's always another time. And a mutual
No, I actually said, you can't be brilliant all the time.
Yeah, you can't be brilliant all the time. I was like, oh, that's nice. And a mutual friend of ours said, well, you wouldn't send out cakes if they were moldy, so now I've like adopted the hashtag not moldy. So,
oh god.
But isn't that such a nice thing, that even like, because you feel within a community, and I know my community of friends are supportive, that like Lou can be there being supportive, but you can have another opinion, but you know that it's a supportive opinion even if it's different. And that for me is, you're not always hearing the, oh, it's okay, because I knew it wasn't okay. I was moldy, I messed up, and you know, and so, but then we've been able to make a real joke of that, to the point where when I went to my big competition, one of our campers, who's, you know, become a friend, got a teddy, and in it said #not moldy.
Oh, I love that.
So Not Moldy came down to the nationals with us and sat in there, where ironically I was moldy. But again, you know, that's part of horses, and that's part of what you do in that community, and, you know, using it as a learning experience, isn't it? So yeah, so not #not moldy is the new way forwards.
I love that. No, I know exactly what you mean. In smaller supercharged, and particularly in the mastermind group, I think because people know each other a bit more in mastermind, as you say, someone says, oh, I'm having a rubbish day, or this has happened, or this has happened, or what do you think about this situation? But because you know that everyone's kind of singing from the same hymn sheet, everyone's obviously different, so they're in businesses, but they're there for that reason, to be supportive, rather than just a kind of random person who you don't really know going, well, you're being an idiot. So, well, no, that's not actually helpful, is it? Looking at a situation going, that happened to me, or something similar has happened to me, or I've read about this before and this might be useful, but you'll be fine, you've got this, can be exactly what you need to hear at that moment.
Yeah, no, it is about having a positive spin, isn't it, on things, and that also helps, of course, with your own mindset and how you deal with things, not just within your horses but in life as well. If you feel that it's okay to make a mistake, and okay, you know, to share, and you know, you surround yourself with positive people in all aspects of life, it really does make a massive difference to what you can achieve. Yeah, I love it though. I do honestly feel so privileged that we can help shape, you know, a person or people, and what an incredibly lucky position, you know, we are to be in, and we all share the same passion, and as Liz said, we've all got different goals, but, you know, just being able to help people is immense, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that. I think there's going to be a lot of goals shared in the group this week, and it's great because, you know, earlier somebody was like, oh, I've got this goal to do this. I'm like, have you got your trainers out yet? No, but I've got some new ones. So next week will be, so have you been running? It's like, you know, it's helping each other and making each other accountable as well. It'll be great to it's great that they share their goals, and great that we can help them achieve them and help them stay accountable, and we, you know, everybody can help each other.
Definitely. So how long has the online group been going on now? Because it's not long, is it? It's quite new.
A month. We've literally launched.
Oh God.
We had great ambitions to get it out earlier than we did, but typically everything took a lot longer than we kind of thought it might. But yeah, so we launched at the end of March.
Wow.
So yeah, we'd opened it up and had a few people just have a look at it for us and try it, and then we just went for it. End of March, wasn't it, guys? About the 28th, I think. So yeah.
Just like to balance that up with, we actually didn't start talking about this idea and committing to doing it until when? Like no, probably not.
No,
was it
January?
It was January.
Yeah.
January. So basically in 2 months we were like just trotting along in life, and then we decided that we should probably go at Grand National speed. And here we are.
How fast can you build a membership website?
And how have you found the response so far? Have you been pleased with how many members you've got, what they, you know, the feedback from those people?
Yeah, the feedback is, I think for me, the feedback has been the most amazing thing. And like, we're not going to lie, we always want more members, but we've been really pleased with the number that we have got on board, especially as it's our first month, which has been fantastic. But for me, the feedback that we've got from everyone has just been absolutely amazing and so positive. And that's what kind of keeps you going, isn't it, when you're tired and you're all like working to deadlines and thinking, oh my God, how are we going to get everything done? But yeah, it's that feedback that we're getting from everyone, which has just been so fantastic to see.
I think the thing that surprised me the most was how many people signed up for a yearly membership. So we have a monthly membership and a yearly membership, and we just thought, well, we'll give people the option, and there's a discount, and it's I know we like shouldn't plug too much, but
No,
it's
I was going to ask how much it was.
it equates to £3.50 a week. Like it's £15 a month. Like I don't mean to be I don't mean to be big-headed, but honestly I would not drive to somebody's yard to teach them for £15, and there is so much content, but we really want to make it accessible, and we want lots of people to use it, and we want people to not have to think, oh, if I have that then I can't afford to do this. We want people to think, well, that's probably like a Starbucks and a half a week, or so it's really, really affordable. But when the first people came through and it was like annual membership, I had that sudden like, oh, why are people going to want to listen to me for a year? Like, oh my gosh, that's insane.
There's the marketeer.
I know, it's terrible. What have we done? No, but what that it gives you that because we all suffer from like self-doubt, and we all suffer from imposter syndrome, and as Lou said right at the beginning, I said no to doing camps originally because my answer was, who is going to come to a camp for me? Like, who wants to be taught by me? That's just ridiculous. And then it turns out that people actually quite like having fun on the ponies, and and we kind of do okay with that. And it was the same with the membership. So when people started joining up for a year, I was like, oh my goodness, they really believe in us. They really believe that what we're doing is good, and it has value. And that's, I think, what I want is for people to feel valued and to have value as well.
Definitely. So what can we expect from EquiTeam, both in-person events and online, over the next few months?
So the camps are all sold out for the rest of the year.
So when do you've just finished some camps as we're recording now, so did you have them in the holidays, or how does it
Yes, so we used to just do them whenever, and then my small person turned 4 and had to go to school. So camp dates had to move a little. So now, yes, they're mostly in school holidays, English school holidays, as opposed to Scottish ones. So we've got June, August, and then we have got September as well, but then we'll add some single days in as well. So they're just like camp experience days. So they come and have 2 lessons, some yummy lunch prepared by Liz, lol. And
I just want to they're laughing because culinary skills are not my strong point here. Just to be clear, my skills lie in the arena and behind the laptop. In the kitchen is not. So whenever we do the day camps, I am like completely stressed about the fact that I have to feed 12 people and not give them food poisoning, which Lou finds hilarious because she can't think of anything worse than standing in an arena and teaching. So
nobody would come to camp if I was teaching, so it's fine. We know our own strengths. So
exactly.
Yeah. So that's the in-person thing, and then online, just lots more exciting videos and guests, guest podcasts, guest blogs,
and downloads as well. Like we've started a bit of a veterinary kind of stream with that as well, and then we have things like packing lists, and so it's just building on, I think, the sections that we have and making everything very topical. And it's great to kind of keep building on all the riding ones as well. So we've just done like an introduction to leg yield, so making leg yield easy, and then we've got a jumping exercise that can either be poles on the floor, so you could do that as poles, and or you can make it a little bit more complicated by, instead of doing curved lines, you can use straight lines. So lots and lots of things. So no matter what stage you're at, there's lots to look at. And the horse care as well, which we're all quite passionate about, and we're lucky that we've already had some amazing contributors, and we're pulling in favours to have some more. I actually saw Alan Davis at the Nationals, and he was like, oh, I'd be so keen to do some horse care things for you. I'm like, winning. So yeah, there's so that will be coming. But we're very lucky that we spent a long time in the industry, and we've got really good friends in the industry who also share the same ethos of wanting, they want to share information and they want to share knowledge, and to pass on their own learning. So I think it's our kind of mission to provide a platform to do that.
No, definitely. Now, I was going to usually ask people about their kind of highs and lows along their journey, which I feel like you probably have got some from the physical event side, but hopefully not too many from the, well, no, I'm sure you've got highs. No, you probably have highs and lows, people. I was going to say setting up a membership site is full of lows. It's awesome, but the work it takes, and when you feel like you're getting nowhere, you've spent hours doing something, you're like, the button's in the wrong place.
Yeah. Or the night before you're getting up at 4 a.m. to drive to Scotland, the website disappears and you go, oh my God, where's it gone? Cue frantic phone calls to the hosting company and £150 later, back up.
Where did it go?
Oh, it's because it ran out of memory.
Okay.
Basically, yeah, we ran out of memory and they had to up our memory on the hosting.
Right.
But yes, a little moments.
I think that's a low. That's definitely
that was a real low point, especially as I need to go to bed. I'm so tired.
Oh God.
But yeah, at least it didn't happen in the middle of camp, so it's all fine, all sorted. Websites running smoothly.
What about you, Liz? I'm quite intrigued. This is a great question, Maria. Well done, you. Liz S, what are your highs and lows so far?
I think my high was seeing that our member who posted about hacking out on a pony, I was like, because I screenshotted it and sent it onto our group WhatsApp, and I was like, this is why we're doing what we're doing, guys. This is awesome. So that was definitely a real sort of high moment for me. The lowest was probably just before I went on holiday. So we'd been like up running about a week, and I knew these guys were going into camp, and there was so much other stuff going on as well, because like, don't forget, at the moment we're all juggling like a million other jobs and companies and like children and everything else, and like Liz was getting ready to go to Hartbury as well, and there was just so much stuff going on, and I was just absolutely shattered. Like I had a complete meltdown with my children. And I think they looked at me and were like, Mummy, what on earth's wrong? And they were little angels for the next 48 hours helping. But yes.
Ooh, that's a high. You're a high.
It was amazing. But I think they were like, oh my God, like we've never seen you like this before. And I just was tired. I was just so tired. It was build up all the excitement and all the hard work, but knowing that there was still so much other stuff to do as well.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that.
Yeah, what about you, Liz?
I don't know. I still feel a bit in that kind of swan mode where like I look like I don't actually look, if anyone could see me, I really don't look like I'm gliding. I look tired, like I need some sleep.
You look gorgeous, pack it in.
Obviously. I don't know. I think because life is about to kind of change and become a little bit easier in terms of work, I think that's when I'll be able to take a breath and be like, oh my goodness me. I think the highs probably so far realise that people have actually signed up, despite the fact that like our marketing at the moment hasn't been like amazingly strong because we're just so thin on the ground, and so people have come anyway. Is quite impressive. And the lows, I don't know, we've not had any kind of major disasters yet. Being tired, but then we're always tired. If we weren't doing this, we'd be doing something else. So the timing was probably a little bit off in hindsight. When I say a little bit off, I mean actually ridiculous. But yeah, because we had a 40th birthday in that, and I have to say, did get a little bit drunk a couple of times, which doesn't, now I'm old, doesn't kind of sit very well, so that made me even more tired. And yeah, I think we've fared quite well. Yeah, the website going down, knowing that there was nothing I could do to help at all, and knowing Lou had a massive kind of drive, that was probably a low, because I felt for my friend rather than like, you know, an impact on me, because I'm a bit like, well, who's going to be on it at 10 o'clock at night anyway? I know it's not ideal, but let's, you know, no one's died. But then Lou was in the car for the entire next day, so then yeah, some poor web tech guy's head probably would have rolled if he hadn't got it taken back up.
They fixed it very quickly. Amazing what happens when you give people money.
Yeah, You'll have that in your business though, Ria, where you have highs and lows as well.
Oh, I think everybody does. And through doing the podcast, I tend to always ask that question, and some of the lows are hilarious. I mean, they shouldn't be. Some are horrible, and you're like, oh my God. There was a chap, the chap from James's school, from Will B's Bespoke, who said that, oh, I can't remember what event he was at now. I mention this quite a lot, but he was at an event, going on to another event, and he was under the van because it got stuck in the mud, trying to free this van, and it was raining and he was soaking wet and tired. And he's like, what am I doing here? And it's funny because I'm looking in on it, and I had another lady a couple of weeks ago, Sophie from Foxy Equestrian, who did badminton horse trials, trade stand, with a broken leg, and then went to Windsor, and her lorry gave up, and they managed to get started, and they had like 5 minutes to get to their stand before the lorry stopped, and her friend was driving, and it just sounded horrific, but funny looking back on it when you're not in it. But I think everyone has highs and lows, and sometimes you can have them both in one day if you're really lucky.
We've got lots from camp. Camps are always a real range of remote, because you really go on a journey. It sounds very cultish, and I don't mean that, but you really invest in your campers. And yeah, I think there's two. One's a funny story, one's not so funny. One low was having to do an entire camp with shingles, and Lou just bringing me, like, she just looked after me. She basically just put me in an arena and suggested that I teach, and fed me tiffin and tea, and then took me back out and sat me down and fed me. So poor Lou had to, I was not feeling very, very well. But the funniest one that we had, where we base our camps, it's in Scotland, and it's known for its lovely weather, and you can be sunburnt in the morning and have snow showers.
What you're going to say now?
And this particular day was one of those days. So I'd gone up the hill. We talk about up the hill. You go up a track, and the cross country's in this big open space on the top of the hill, and it was so cold. So Lou had sent me travel mugs up with all the riders coming up, and it was like properly blizzard, and I was not dressed for the occasion, and I was freezing. I was so cold, questioning my life choices. And then we're halfway back down, and I was so wet, and you know when your breeches are really stuck to you, and I was like, Lou, I can't make it down to the, like, I'm gonna actually wee my pants. And she's like, you can't wee. And I was like, no, I really do. And that my hands were so cold, I had to get Lou to undo my trousers. And then I didn't even know if I had to check to make sure, like visibly check to make sure my pants were actually down, because I couldn't feel anything. It gets better. So I went for a wee behind the wall covered in snow, and I did manage to peel my jumpers up, walk back down, and I was standing in the, we have a lovely bothy that we're allowed to use, and standing in the bothy in front of the log burner, and a camper came in and said, what's that on the back of your legs? And I looked behind, and I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe sat on something because it's wet. And then about 10-15 minutes later, someone else, what is that on the back of your legs? Basically, I was so cold that when I peed, I'd sat on barbed wire and lacerated the back of my leg, and I had all these punctures and like cuts on my legs. I couldn't feel a thing because I was so cold, but because I was cold, I'd obviously bled more, so it looked awful. So the back of my thighs were cut to bits and didn't even realise. So that was a real funny low. I was like,
Oh,
what am I doing?
well, I didn't know that was going to go, because that's a good.
It could have gone anywhere. It could have gone any which way. Really.
They're doing your breeches for you. Crikey.
At least I didn't have to pull them back up again. And she was wondering whether but then if I had pulled them back up again, I might have noticed that she had
was bleeding,
like lacerated the back of her legs.
I suppose God.
It's so silly, because in those situations it didn't even hurt till I looked at it, and then once I'd seen it I was like, oh, that's really sore. How does your brain tell you that's sore? Because honestly, up until that point I didn't feel it at all. But anyway, at least it wasn't my bum. That would have been mortifying.
Oh, crikey. Oh gosh. Is there anything else you would like to share with us? Well, I say me, but us.
But apart from my bum. No.
And that was a nice share. I feel like we all know each other a lot better now.
I've got worse stories, but probably not for public podcasts, so we'll just stick with that one. But I don't know if anyone else has got anything, but I'd just like to take the opportunity really to say thank you so much for having us, and especially because we're so young in our business, and it's so nice that we have the support of, you know, people like yourselves that can see hopefully the value of what we're doing, and you know, understand what we're trying to do. So thank you very much, and thank you to everyone that has taken the time to listen to us chit-chatting on about what we're doing in my bum.
Well, it's been lovely to have you on and learn all about your business. Can you tell us all the places where we can find you online, on social, in everywhere?
So the website is equiteam.co.uk. Instagram is EquiTeam Connected, and Facebook is Learn with EquiTeam. Went blank for a second there. And podcasts is Listen with EquiTeam. So
we can find that on
basically, if you Google EquiTeam, you should find us.
And the podcast, we can find that on Apple, Spotify, all the places.
Yeah, all the normal platforms for it, and on our website as well, so people can access them from there as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining me today, ladies. It's been brilliant, and I'll be thinking about your bum and all of the lacerations for a bit now, Liz.
Thank you so much, Mia.
Thank you.